We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Ian. This channel is all about music and art, and this is a series of videos about how to refoam a set of Allison acoustic hi-fi loudspeakers. In the first video I showed you how to get into them. We did a little bit of history about the Allison brand and how Roy Allison had come from acoustic research. In the second video we cleaned the basket. We cleaned off all of the stuff, and what I've done now is I've actually glued the foam kit to the cone. So when you come to do this, the glue that comes with the kit from North Speaker Parts is absolutely superb. It's a black glue. It comes with comes out in a very small amount, and there is a pin that stops it clogging up, which is absolutely brilliant. And you apply it in a zigzag format round, and then I just glued it. What I did, I lifted the actual speaker cone up by putting some paper towels underneath, so I had a little bit of and I just glued it round. Now what happened was, when I did glue it, there were a few spots round here where I hadn't got enough glue, and I just literally lifted it with a small knife, tucked the glue in, stuck it back down again, and then kept pressing it round for a few minutes. It does dry quite quickly, but really it's not set for, well, I think they say an hour, but I left it a good 3 hours before doing anything else. The other thing that I did, and it doesn't say any of this stuff in their instructions, is I put a thin bead all the way around once I'd finished, and then left it overnight to dry, and I did that on both speakers. Now the one thing that the instructions do not tell you, it does not tell you how to center the speaker cone. So we're going to go through that now. Now there are 3 methods to be able to center a speaker cone. One is what's called the shim method, and whereas you cut this dust cap out and you place shims all the way around the voice coil, and then you glue this the foam to the basket. I didn't want to do that, to be fair, because I'd probably make a complete mess of this, and I don't have a replacement dust cap. The other method is the method that I choose, which is where you connect it to an amplifier with a 50 hertz sine wave, and then you find out where the center of it is. That's the way that I did, and I will show you how to do that. The third method is a little bit odd, and I will include a little bit of video, whereas all you do is you use some pegs to sort of center it. I'll link to the video down below. I'll put a little bit of that information in here so that you can see how that works. But for me, that didn't seem particularly accurate. So I will show you how I connected everything up and how it all worked. So the way I approached getting a test tone to test the speakers is that luckily the hi-fi amplifier here in the studio has got 2 speaker circuits, and only one of those is normally used for the monitors in the studio. So I was able to connect the second set of speakers and I connected them basically just to the two wires, and then I've used a little bulldog clip to be able to just temporarily connect that to the speaker. Now, to get the test tone, a couple of ways you could do it. Because my system is connected to Apple Logic, and in Apple Logic there is a test tone generator, so I was able to use that. If not, what you're going to need to do is use either your iPad or an iPhone or any sort of phone, and just look on the App Store for a test tone. I did download one to have a look to make sure that they were there. I actually didn't need to, like I said, didn't need to use that. So, and then what you would do is you would plug that into a hi-fi system and then connect your speaker to the hi-fi system. When you connect all this stuff up, make sure that everything is turned down, because you'll need an amplifier that's probably at least 10 watts, something like that. I mean, this amplifier is 70 watts, but it needs to be, I would say, a minimum sort of 10 watts. These Allison speakers are rated at about 60 watts. So a really, really small amplifier isn't going to be able to drive them. And what I also did was I put the test tone, you'll hear, I put the test tone up really quite high so that we could hear it when I bring it down to the 50 hertz, because 50 hertz is very, very low frequency, and I had to put my ear to it to actually sort of hear the vibration. So we now have a tone going through, and I've set the tone at the moment to 480 hertz, but we need to be able to do this at 50 hertz. So I'll just bring that down now. You might not be able to hear it. So that's 50 hertz. And what we need to do is we need to bring it up and center it. So if I lift it slightly and then bring it down, we're not getting any vibration now, noise now. And what I can now do is I will glue it, check it once more with the tone, and seal it at that. So what I'm about to do now is I'm about to start gluing, and what I've done is I've put 4 pins roughly where the sort of the speaker holes would be, but and I will currently the tone is 720 hertz. Now let's start taking it down to the 50 hertz. We probably won't hear it at all at 50 hertz now. There's our 50 hertz tone, and you won't be able to hear that on camera. When I've got my ear to it, I can just hear the low bass tone, but as you see, all of that vibration noise has gone. So what I can do now is I can start to glue. Now the way that I'm going to glue it, I'm going to disconnect it from the amplifier, and I'm going to glue round by lifting this up and just gluing round here. Then I'm going to reposition the pegs and glue underneath the pegs, and that's the way that I'm going to do it. one final test with the test tone. Now we've now got some rubbing. So we need to move it off over a bit. Now I can hear the low 80 hertz, 50 hertz test tone, but you may not be able to hear that on camera. So there's our glued base unit. Now what will probably happen is I may need to go around and just double check once it's dried. I'm going to leave it for about 3 hours, although this glue dries quite quickly, but I'm going to leave it a good long time, and then I'll check to make sure that the seal is perfect around the edges there. You'll have seen how I pegged the speaker to hold it in place. What I also did after I'd pegged it the first time round, and I left it for a couple of hours, took all the pegs off, and then just checked where there was any sort of gaps, and I would put a little bit more glue, put a peg on for 30 minutes, something like that, so that it sets, and we're good to go. So the last thing I need to do with these now is just reconnect them to put them back into the cabinet, and then put the grill cloth and restaple all that back together, which is what I will do. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions, you can stick them down below in the comments, and I'll see you in another video. So thanks so much. Cheers now. Bye bye.